Mr. Mitchell, it's been a chaotic few hours, past few hours. What is your response to everything that's basically transpired?
Um, I don't adopt the mantra of chaos. Uh, what has transpired is an act of violence, in my view, which was deliberately fomented by an opposition group that is desperate for attention. We have characterized them before as actors in a play. And all that this demonstrated today is that they will do and go to any lengths in order to succeed at getting power. My educated guess is that the Bahamian public is wiser than they are and will see through this patently false action on their part. What is most offensive is not the act itself, but that they pre-planned an act to make a mockery of an historical event in our country's history, which was done to promote the interest of an oppressed racial majority in our country by an oppressive minority. And for them to do that today is simply a travesty, a disgusting and disgraceful act for which they ought to be condemned. After that act in 1965, the law was changed so that the property of the house, if it's damaged, is an offense. These people who say that they're trying to fight crime, who say that crime is an issue in the country, who say that violence is an issue in the country, participated in an event today which led to the injury of two officers of the government. One, the deputy speaker, and another, the man who was acting as the sergeant at arms. Both now, I understand, being treated at hospital. That's what the Free National Movement and its leadership did today. It is simply disgraceful.
Understood, and given the fact that I believe Minister Monroe was about to deliver the or table the new legislation, obviously it's ill-timed and I guess some would say, I guess, ill-mannered on their part.
Well, the problem is for this organization is you saw the week before this event took place, the House of Assembly, it was had to witness one of the extra parliamentary political parties, the head of that party, barging into the House of Assembly, again against the rules, again a violent act, coming in, trashing the leader of the opposition. And we defended that position because it's wrong. The rules and the law says that members of parliament on the day parliament is sitting must have unimpeded access to the parliament. And that applies whether it's the government or whether it's the leader of the opposition. The leader of the opposition did not have the strength to throw that usurper out of his own meeting. And now they come this week with what I keep branding as an act of outrageous violence against the House of Assembly and against two public officers. This is shameful, and they should not be associated with it. This is play acting. I watch them smiling as they're being taken out of the house, but they disrupted the people's business today. They and a scap gang that they had outside the house this morning. Disgraceful.
Right, and given that you mentioned that rules are rules, what would be the implications following this?
Well, left to me, the law would take its course. Those who break the law should be brought before the law to answer for what they have done. But that's not a decision for me. But I think that the Bahamian people ought to know quite clearly what has happened today and should disassociate themselves with any act of violence by this opposition and the leaders of the opposition. It is really shameful. It is a bad example to our children as to how to get things done. And people should remember that in 1965, when this happened, this was about drawing up the boundaries so that you could have fair elections. There was no such issue here. Nothing to do with anything of principle. This was just histrionics, and play acting by a group of people who are hungry and desperate for power in a country where they are getting no traction. That's all this is about. And we should not bow to it. We should stand up firmly to it, and PLPs and people of goodwill should say no to this. It's a mockery. It's a shame. It's a disgrace.
Awesome. And one last question: how do you feel? Or what's your take on Prime Minister Davis and the government navigating the circumstances so far regarding the indictment?
I'm now in Washington, D.C., and I can tell you no one in this town is talking about this indictment. The only people who are talking about this indictment is Bahamians chewing themselves up over this. The facts are, of the people who are indicted, supposedly in the United States, one is a police officer, the other is a defense force officer. Those people are responsible for their personal conduct. The government is not involved in this conduct at all, whatsoever. There is no implication for the ongoing progress of our country. People get indicted in this country, the United States, all the time. The country goes on. The Commonwealth of the Bahamas will go on. And I keep saying to Bahamians, do not destroy our own country over something which is not actually worth it. You're reading more into this than there actually is. Our country is strong. Systemically, it is strong, and it'll move forward. People have been arrested, have been charged. All of this has been done before, and the Bahamas survive. Stop chewing yourself up over this. This kind of discord is being fomented by an opposition that is simply desperate for attention and can't get traction. That's my view. We're a strong country. The people are resilient. The people who offend the law will meet the law, and it should be treated as that, but not something which is systemic. That's my view. And the Prime Minister has navigated thus far what is being made into a crisis, but which is not a crisis.
So, thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you.